Looking to buy or sell a property, but you're not sure what you should be paying attention to in a contract? Well, I'm going to give you some suggestions right now. Hello, it's Michael Knecht from Compass. You're looking to buy or sell a property, but you're not sure what you should be paying attention to as far as a contract? Well, I'm going to give you some suggestions right now as far as what to be looking for in a contract and what are some of the most important items. One of the things I want you to realize is that I'm not an attorney and I'm not giving you any legal advice, but I am giving you some direction of what types of things you should be paying attention to when you're putting together an offer for a property. Number one, obviously, is the price and the terms of the property and the closing date. You want to obviously have it in writing what price you're going to be conveying the property at. One of the things I want you to pay attention to is number one is the price and the conditions of the sale. Obviously, we want to spell out the price because we want to make sure everybody's comfortable with that. So one of the things I want you to pay attention to are price and condition of a property. And I'm not talking about the physical condition of a property, but I mean the condition in the contract of the property. What conditions? Meaning what types of financing are going to be involved in this? What are some of the dates that you need to pay attention to, such as a financing condition, attorney inspection and a review condition or period. Obviously, we want to spell out the price so there's no questions as far as that goes on there. The next thing, which I kind of touched on here, was your financing contingency. You want to find out, is it a FHA? Is it a conventional loan? What types of financing is a buyer going to use if you're a seller in this? Or, for that matter, if you're a buyer, what type of financing are you presenting to the seller? When that should be due, your mortgage contingency is what we like to call it. But we want you to make sure that you're following that and you're staying up to date because there are certain deadlines that you have to meet in a contract. Another thing I want you to pay attention to is any types of disclosures or any types of inspections. Now, when you first go into a contract, there's a certain time period, at least in Illinois, there is a certain period of time that you have to do any inspections on the property. Well, I want you to pay attention to those. I want to make sure that that's written in the contract that you have a certain amount of time and that any disclosures are presented to you when signing the contract so you're aware of any conditions that may be on the property. I want you to be aware of any obstacles or any problems that may be on the property. We want you to be aware of any conditions in the property that may be an issue, such as leaky roof. There's going to be plumbing problems, something along those nature that should be disclosed, and you should be getting disclosures. In Illinois, the main ones, and this is not limited to only these ones, are going to be your radon disclosure, your property disclosure, and your lead-based paint disclosure. Now, there could be more disclosures. I'm not saying there are not more. There could be. Again, I'm not an attorney, and I'm not advising you on what types of disclosures you need to provide. But in Illinois, those are the typical ones that you're going to run into. Closing date and possession. Closing date is a date that you've set up for closing, meaning that the financing is all in place and that funds are going to be transferred at the closing table. Everything's going to be signed off and there's going to be a transfer of keys. Sometimes, in rare occasions, there is an extended closing date where, such as the seller who may be moving out decides to rent back. So they're going to be paying a certain amount of fees after the closing to the buyer for a certain period of time until they move out of the property. So there may be differences as far as a closing date versus when you may take possession. But technically, possession is when you sign off, you get the keys, and you're at the closing table and the deal is done. So I hope that makes sense to you. Again, I'm not an attorney. I like to stress that. But I like to give you some ideas of what you may be encountering in your contract when writing up when to purchase and or sell a property. So anyway, feel free to reach out to me at Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, Facebook. I'm all over social media, so feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.